Back to our top story tonight. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted a second time, the latest for allegedly mishandling classified documents and obstruction, among other crimes.
The 37 federal counts are just the latest obstacle for the former president, who is also the 2024 GOP frontrunner. In late March, Trump was charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records in a New York City court related to his alleged role in hush money payments to multiple women.
As we continue our coverage tonight, we are taking a look at the political impacts and the ramifications of these cases. Here with us tonight are Republican strategist Jamie Roe, as well as Democratic consultant Adolph Mongo. Thank you so much for both being here tonight. Adolph, let's start with you. Just how damaging is this, in your opinion, to Trump's bid to become president again?
Teflon guy. Listen, it seems like he can raise a lot of money. There's another indictment coming out of Georgia. He's going to raise money, and I know the president, Biden, probably wish that he stays in the race. For whatever reason, he's like Jim Jones. He got a cult following. These guys, you know, DeSantis and the rest of the wannabes, hoping that this indictment, and they're not saying it, they usually saying, oh, it's a political witch hunt, but deep down inside, they hope that, you know, Trump goes away, and he's not going away. It looks like he gets stronger. He's not going. If he's the nominee, he got a lot of baggage.
Jamie, as Adolph just noted, we haven't really heard very strong language coming out of some of the other rivals for the 2024 ticket. We have started to see the gloves come off pre-indictment for other issues. What do you expect to come of this? Do you start to see some of those other 2024 candidates really leaning into this?
Well, I know Governor Hutchinson, who's running from former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, did take a call for President Trump to get out of the race today. I'm not quite sure. I don't think President Trump's going to listen. I think at some point it sort of becomes death by a thousand cuts, right? I think what's troubling Republican voters in particular is it seems like, particularly if you look back to the Hillary Clinton case with her server and emails that were under subpoena that were destroyed and not turned over, and then James Comey does his famous press conference where he outlaws the laws that she broke and then says no reasonable prosecutor would bring the case. But this, in what seems to be a pretty similar case, the charges are brought against Donald Trump or against a Republican. And it seems like that there's a double standard of justice, that there's one set of rules if you're a Republican and there's another set of rules if you're a Democrat. And I think right now that will strengthen President Trump a little bit, but I think at some point the drama and the sideshow becomes a bit much, and people want to talk about something that impacts their lives, not about Donald Trump's legal battles.
With respect, speaking of double standards, I mean, considering the Hillary Clinton case, Donald Trump and some of, Chris Christie were leading chants of lock her up and worse back then. Do you expect their tone to change now that the tables have turned?
Do you want to know what they didn't do? They didn't lock her up, and they didn't even bring charges. I think I went to Trump rallies like that, and it was sort of like a rallying call. I don't think anybody actually thought that they were going to lock her up after that, but it was I don't even know what the right word is, but it was fun, quite frankly. This is serious business right now. These are actual legal charges brought in federal court to take away President Trump's liberty. That was never done to Hillary Clinton. In fact, after the election, when President Trump won, he came out and said, no, we're not going to bring charges against Hillary Clinton. He said that they weren't going to do it. So I think it's a very different situation. And quite honestly, if I were Hunter Biden and I were Joe Biden, after these charges were brought, I'd be very concerned if a Republican is elected president next time, because turnabout is going to be fair play. And there's a lot of fire where that smoke's coming from the Hunter Biden laptop.
There's also criminal probes against Trump, and I will ask you, as a Democratic advisor, does this help the Democratic Party? Does this put them over the edge? Are people going to say, we've had enough of the Republicans?
Sooner or later. But Hillary Clinton didn't take top secret documents and share it with PAC people who give money. They didn't have 150 boxes or whatever they had that he took from the White House. All they asked was give back those papers, and he wouldn't do it. Trump is the worst kind of, he's a crook. He's worse than Richard Nixon. And he's talking about lock him up. They're going to lock him up. But you know what? Trump is going to fight it. Democrats want Trump. If I was running, I would want Trump in the general election. I don't want anybody else. And you got a president that a lot of Democrats are they're not too enthused at Biden, not because he hasn't done a good job. It's because Biden is 80 years old or so, and they're looking for somebody new. But he is who he is. Trump shared top secret documents with folks, with fundraisers, with donors, and whatever. So he need to be prosecuted, and he need to go to jail. But we'll see how it plays out.
Jamie, do you agree that Trump on the ticket is a best case scenario for Biden? Who do you think is the best case scenario for Republicans?
I think that Democrats believe that Trump is the best candidate to run against Joe Biden, but I also think that they thought he was the best candidate to run against Hillary Clinton in 2016, and that ended up with 4 years of Donald Trump as president. So if that's what their thinking is right now on how they're operating in this circumstance, be very careful what you wish for, because at the end of the day, they don't get to make the decision on who's going to be the next president. The American people do, and they thought Donald Trump had no chance in 2016, and he won. So they better be careful what they wish for. Right now, I am uncommitted in who I'm supporting in the presidential race. Donald Trump is not going to be my first choice. I can assure you of that. I think that we have other better choices, whether it's Vivek Ramaswamy, who I think is a very interested candidate, or Governor DeSantis of Florida, and several others who I think are great candidates that we have. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, Republican primary voters are going to select a person who they think is going to be the best president and who can solve America's problems, and that's why we're going to have a coming campaign.
But you know, I disagree with you about Hillary Clinton. People had problems with Hillary. They had Democrats had problems with former President Bill Clinton. That's why Hillary didn't win, because a lot of folks couldn't come to vote for her because they didn't want to put Bill Clinton back in the White House. So Hillary ran a ridiculous campaign. And I never underestimated Trump, because Trump just did his thing. But now he has a record. He's terrible. 4 miserable years under Trump, who patted the insurrectionists on the back and said, oh, good job, who praised white nationalists who killed a woman in Virginia. Yeah, we want Trump. Bring him on.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. Republican strategist Jamie Roe and Democratic consultant Adolph Mongo, thank you so much for being here tonight.